everybody, and welcome here as we get ready for knockout qualifying for our 6th race of the season. This is the O'Reilly Auto Parts 400 here at Texas Motor Speedway. And we're getting ready for 13 drivers to battle it out for 7 positions in the starting grid for tonight's race. Already off track is the 43 of Grayson Acavito. Second straight week that he has been here in knockout qualifying. U.S. Air Force Ford Fusion. Behind him, you'll find the 17 of Tristan Folks, who we've just gotten word has actually got new sponsorship for next week. Tristan Folks will be sponsored by the Houston Rockets. And they are close to unveiling what that scheme looks like. And we will see it next week. Drivers that come into tonight's event, you can see up on the top left, that have to race their way into the show. Michael Norman, Joshua Michaels, Sean Galligan, Dallas McIntosh, Tristan Folks, Cody Lamas, Stephen Paul III, Sam McMillan, as well as Grayson Acavito, Seth Cole, John Citadino, Austin Gipe, and Kyle Matthews has fallen back outside the top 35 in points after Benjamin Miles moved up into the top 35 after a second place run last week at Bristol. So again, Kyle Matthews having to try and qualify his way in. There's Michael Norman just now heading onto the track. Sam McMillan, only one start this season, that of course coming 2 weeks ago at Atlanta. There's Cody Lamas working with Sean Galligan. A drafting partner can work here to help you lay down a fast enough lap time. And Cody missed last week's show, so did Galligan. Seth Cole now coming onto the track. Joshua Michaels, last week was the first race he missed. At Bristol, there's John Citadino, had a pretty solid outing in his debut at Bristol last week as he qualified into the show, now trying to make his second straight start. Same for Austin Gipe, he made his debut last week at Bristol, but didn't exactly have the best of runs. And we're back to Tristan Folks, who right now has the fastest lap on track, working with teammate Dallas McIntosh there and Grayson Acavito in the 43. Right now, 30.967 may have Tristan Folks locked into the main event. The other drivers at this point that would make the show would be Galligan, Citadino, Cody Lamas, Grayson Acavito, Seth Cole, Joshua Michaels now jumps up into the top 7. And somebody else just jumped up in there. I think that might have been Dallas McIntosh. Just jumped up to 2nd. So now Joshua Michaels is outside the top 7. Seth Cole now is on the bubble spot. And he just got knocked out because Michael Norman moved up to 6th. So now it would be Folks, McIntosh, Galligan, Citadino, Cole Lamas, and Norman. And Dallas McIntosh, fastest on the speed charts. So Roush Fenway Racing flexing their muscle right now as the 16 and the 17 are the top of the leaderboard as far as speeds. Norman just jumped up in. Kyle Matthews just jumped up to 2nd. The 09 just put down a 30.927. And now he's up into the 2nd position as far as speed. Seth Cole has now been eliminated, as has Cody Lamas, because Stephen Paul III just ran the 4th fastest lap time. Kyle Matthews has had to qualify his way into just about every event this season. The only 2 that he has not had to race his way in via the knockout qualifying session was the season opener at Daytona and last week at Bristol. Rockingham, UK, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and here tonight at Texas, he's had to qualify his way in on speed in each and every one of them. And it looks like he's going to make his 6th straight start. Looks like it is going to be McIntosh, Matthews, Folks, Pollard, Galligan, Norman, and Citadino, who will make it in to the main event of the O'Reilly Auto Parts 400. About 20 seconds left for cool down to get any final lap time in. Cittadino is on the bubble spot trying to make his second straight start. Seth Cole is just outside the top 7. And will anyone make any kind of a move to get themselves up into the top 7? Doesn't look like it. Session, I believe, will be over. And your 7 that will transfer into the main event are Dallas McIntosh, Kyle Matthews, Tristan Folks, Stephen Pollard III will make his second start of the season. Sean Galligan, I believe this will be his third start of the season. Michael Norman finally makes it back into a main event. And John Cittadino is 2 for 2 in qualifying his way into the main event since that team was put together. Kyle Matthews is 4 for 4 in Knockout Q, making it into the show. Drivers that will not start the O'Reilly Parts 400 tonight include Seth Cole, Cody Lamas, Grayson Acavito, Joshua Michaels, Sam McMillan, and Austin Gipe. So without further ado, let's get ready now for some nighttime racing at Texas as we're getting ready to bring you live to the race.
One of the finest racing commentators in the South, from WIFM Elkin, North Carolina, on pit road, Barney Hall.
Thank you, Ken. As we look down toward the east end of the speedway, all we can see, of course, is pit crews and tires stacked all the way up to the top of pit wall. They'll get a chance to put all this equipment to work as the race will be getting underway here very shortly. We'll be right here to cover all the action. Back to you in the tower.
I'm one of those millions of fans growing up that learned about NASCAR listening to you on the radio. Barney is certainly one of those pioneers I think that we all should be grateful for.
Richard Petty's STP Oldsmobile. Waltrip dives to the inside. Petty almost put him off in the grass, and Richard Petty will win the Daytona 500. This Daytona 500 has had it all. Donnie Allison, Cale Yarborough crash in turn 3 on that final lap.
Denny Hamlin has had a strong car here for the last half hour. Jeff Burton has been strong all day long.
Everything I've learned about how to put it all together and be a citizen of this sport in the garage and in the booth and really have it become a part of me that I could become a part of it. I've learned from this man here.
Earnhardt is using every inch of racetrack, and Elliott gets together with him. Earnhardt goes off in the grass, brings the car back onto the speedway, and keeps it in a straight line and holds onto the lead. Unbelievable.
Looking for the pace car to pull in behind the pit wall. That has happened. Here they come down to the line. Green flag goes in the air, and they take off for turn number 1 for some furious racing these final 70 laps.
Growing up, my mom and dad would literally put me in the back of our car and drive from Owensboro, Kentucky, down to Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is where we would first pick up the signal from MRN about the races that my brother was racing in. Those images that I pictured in my mind made me a fan of the sport and made me want to be a part of the sport that no one else could have ever done like Barney did.
Tell you what we'd like you to do if you would like to do it. When they come off turn number 4 and that pace car hits pit road, would you like to say, here they come to the green for us?
Sure. You pinch me when I'm supposed to say, here they come to the green.
All right. Pace car about to ease off onto pit road right now. 43 of the best stock car drivers in the world, about 1,000 feet away from the start-finish line. And to call the start of the Daytona 500, the President of the United States, George Bush.
Here they come to the green.
Celebrating 50 years of broadcasting NASCAR racing, MRN Radio's Barney Hall.
And you know, there's just something that kind of reaches out and grabs you when you say the 50th running of the Daytona 500. It's about to get going. They come down to the line. Green flag goes in the air. 2 by 2 as they head off into turn number 1, and already they're getting racy just past the start-finish line.
When we first started working on the air together, he and I were sitting down one night, and he said, "Alan, there's nothing wrong with doing things with a little class and a little dignity. Isn't that Barney Hall?"
I think that, you know, you're great. You're one of the greatest. Barney Hall is number 1 in my book. I put you second to him. So anything he says is right. I'll tell you that right now.
And to our good friend from radio station WIFM Elkin, North Carolina, Barney Hall.
Thank you, Kent. It was the most exciting race. I had given up smoking until those last 10 laps, and now I've got another pack out puffing on one. I didn't even realize it. I ran out of fingernails about the last 5 laps also. It's one of the most exciting finishes I've ever seen at Daytona, and the people here were treated to one of the greatest races they'll ever see anywhere. It was a pleasure being here in the pits covering the action. Back to Ken Squire in the tower.
Everyone, and welcome here to Texas Motor Speedway for race number 6 of Season 1 of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series, getting ready for the running of the AAA Texas 500 in memory of Barney Hall. The news was broken just about 24 hours before this race is recorded that Barney Hall, great commentator for MRN Radio, passed away at the age of 83 due to complications of surgery. And this one hits hard for a number of people in the NR2003 community because a lot of NR2003 commentators, myself included, will tell you that Barney Hall was a big example to us in how we deliver our commentary for our races and everything. And so, a true legend, a true pioneer in NASCAR commentating, Barney Hall will be missed, and therefore tonight we will be having a silent lap 20 in memory of Barney Hall. There will be no commentary during that lap. But coming into tonight's race, we have quite the points battle going on here in the standings of drivers trying to make their way into position to lock themselves up a chase spot perhaps here early on in the season. As a matter of fact, for the first time since coming off the race at Daytona into Rockingham, UK, every single one of our race winners up to this point, all 5 of them, are actually inside the top 10 in points, which means that the drivers that right now sit 11th and 12th in points without wins, they would, if the season were to end now, they would lock up the 2 wildcard spots because nobody that has a victory would be running any higher outside of the top 10 in points. Coming into tonight's race, we have a very interesting scenario in the points. Right now, JT Bryant is dominating the standings by almost a full race over second in the points, Tim Walsh. We'll see if he can continue to grow that points lead as he starts off 4th in tonight's event. JT Bryant needs to hit a huge roadblock if these drivers are going to try and run him down for the points lead. But as you can see, starting on the pole position is the 48 of Blaine Keys. That's his first pole of the season. Blaine looking for his first win of the season as well. He'll start off this race alongside of the 78 of our Daytona 500 winner, Ryan Acosta. Ryan comes into this race now 8th in the point stands. It's the first time since Rockingham, UK that he's moved back up into the top 10 points since winning the Great American Race. Starting off in row 2, Levi McIntyre in the 99. Levi's been having a bit of struggles this season, basically due to not qualifying well. So they finally get a good qualifying run here tonight, and he'll start off 3rd alongside of the points leader, JT Bryant. Row 3 is going to hold Tweenix Racing's Dylan Poteet, the 31, driving the Baja Blast colors tonight. Alongside of him, Tristan Folks, who it has been announced will be running a different paint scheme for, I think, the remainder of the season, but it will be debuting next week in the 17 Houston Rockets. Will be on his Ford Fusion. Row 4 will be made up of Jeremy Jones, running the Snickers Extreme paint scheme on his 18 tonight. And alongside of him, the 4 of Daniel Bouchard, who has just been on an amazing momentum run ever since he's been able to make his way into the top 35 in the point standings. And in the 5th row and completing the top 10, Cooper Cyron in the 19, and alongside of him is going to be Tim Walsh, 2nd in the point standings, trying to pick up his 2nd win of the season. As a matter of fact, this track very similar to Atlanta, which we were at 2 weeks ago, and Tim Walsh was the winner of that race. Let's take a look at the rest of your starting lineup here. You'll notice a lot of drivers coming in with new sponsorships and stuff. That's something I'm trying to keep on top of here during the course of this season, making sure that everybody has different sponsors for at least most of the races rather than just running one paint scheme for the entire season. So as I mentioned, the point standings coming into this race, you already know who's 1 and 2 in points, JT Bryant and Tim Walsh. 3rd in the points is going to be Kian Eddington and the 33. Fourth in points is Joshua Circuli, our winner from Bristol. Jake Baskinger is fifth in points. Sixth is Pichu London. Seventh place, Jessica Shelton. Ryan Acosta, eighth. James Richardson is now up to ninth. Talk about a guy that's been on a momentum streak. That was a driver that had to qualify his way into the race. I believe it was at Las Vegas because he fell outside the top 35 in points. He's now up there to ninth in the standings, and Joshua Lee still hanging in there in the top 10. That 5 car has been in the 10th position in points, I think, for the last 3 weeks. Drivers who failed to make this race, you saw in the knockout qualifying session earlier on: Joshua Michaels, Austin Gipe, Grayson Acavito, Seth Cole, Sam McMillan, and Cody Lamas. Without further ado, though, we're ready to go racing. Let's go down trackside and get the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
So the pace car will peel off, and the drivers will roll off behind him. A couple of top stories coming to tonight's race, with Tim Walsh leaving Toyota, going over to Chevrolet, becoming a teammate to Austin LaPlante. The Michael Waltrip Racing Stables has folded up, and the 55 of Holden Gluba has now moved over to Joe Gibbs Racing. So he will join the collective effort of Cooper Cyron, Jeremy Jones, Rocco Twyman, and Cody Lamas over there. Also, next week, we're going to be seeing I don't know what you call, I know there's a quartet, that's what it is, a quartet of drivers trying to make their Hersheys Cup Series debut in knockout qualifying, including the 23, a Mitsubishi Lancer team put together by Brandon Gonzalez, the 8, which will be driven by Matt McIntyre, James Qualls in the 70, and Zachary Fitzwater in the 28. For those that don't know, even though signups are closed, you can formulate teams. You will obviously have to take part in knockout qualifying to try and make it into the top 35 in points. But teams are still able to be formulated even at this point in the season. So keep that in mind. Pace car will peel off. We're ready to go green. Blaine Keys, Ryan Acosta are ready to get the AAA Texas 500 in honor of Barney Hall green, and we are underway here at Texas Motor Speedway. Already 3 wide for third. Dylan Poteet jumps to the inside on Levi McIntyre. JT Bryant gets kicked way up to the high side. No love for the points leader at this point, as Blaine Keys will check out by about a car length advantage, and they're going to go 3 wide for second place again. That was Jeremy Jones down the inside, and I think he may have gotten a little too low. Yeah, he's got 2 tires down the apron. That's killing his momentum coming off the corner. Lost a lot of spots to Jeremy Jones. Started 7th, fell back to 9th. Battle for the lead. Dylan Poteet to the inside on Blaine Keys, and he will take the top position. Levi McIntyre now going to move for second. Ryan Acosta there to try to take third, and here comes Daniel Bouchard and Tristan Folks. Tristan Folks again trying to work his way back up into the top 35 in points. Right now running solidly in the top 10. That'll definitely help his efforts as Dylan Poteet leads. Ryan Acosta now moves by Levi McIntyre for second. The battle is on for third. Daniel Bouchard to the inside of Levi McIntyre, who got the wall and then just nearly got wrecked by the 17. That was a close call right there. Levi McIntyre scraping the wall out of 2. Tried to get it off, came down across the nose of the 17, nearly got wrecked, and we are under the yellow flag though. Caution's out for the first time tonight here on lap 4. And I wonder if maybe something else happened out of turn 2 and they weren't able to save it. Let's see where the smoke may be lingering. And there you see right there skid marks coming out of the exit of 2 and down to the apron of the back straightaway. So I'd say we had at least maybe 2 cars involved. Maybe it was a solo car spin. You never know. However, we got to see if these leaders are going to make pit stops. And there were a couple of drivers that actually just broke as if they were getting ready to come to pit road. It looked like Tristan Folks, Levi McIntyre were indicating they were going to be coming to pit lane. Let's see if the leaders are going to come to pit road or will they stay out. A very early caution here on lap 3. The completion of lap 3, that is, on to lap 4. Dylan Poteet will stay out. Ryan Acosta is going to come in, though. Staying out as well, Levi McIntyre, Kian Eddington, Blaine Keys. Also, Cooper Cyron, Tim Walsh, Emmanuel Hartnett. They're staying out. John Arndt, along with his teammate Carson Scott. James Richardson. Leon Alvarez is staying out. And everybody else, looks like most of everybody else is coming down pit road. So I'm not certain how many drivers exactly that is. I would say about 11 drivers decided to stay out. Now let's see who's going to win the battle off of pit road. And it's going to be, it looks like Ryan Acosta over Daniel Bouchard. Jeremy Jones comes out third, fourth Holden Gluba, and Rocco Twyman will come out fifth. So 3 of the Joe Gibbs Racing cars, the newest entry there, the 55, coming out third, fourth, and fifth off pit road. But the leader under caution, and when we go back green, will more than likely be Dylan Poteet. Let's take a look at a replay of what put us under the caution flag for the first time here tonight at Texas. Sean Galligan was running well until his car drifted up the racetrack, and he just got caught up on the high side. And right there, he gets the wall, and he got run into by Dallas McIntosh in the 16, and wow, Michael Norman avoiding there, and then a little bit more contact with McIntosh and Galligan. Galligan going to pancake the left side and the inside wall. Dallas McIntosh, though, got the most damage out of all that, I would think. And apparently the 16 just couldn't get off the 13. That's a tough break there for Sean Galligan, who was at 17th position at the time. Dallas McIntosh was running 23rd. And we know that Dallas McIntosh had to race his way into this event, as did Sean Galligan. So for the both of them, who were technically go-or-go homers before the night started, this is not what they need. We'll see if both of them are able to continue and try and salvage what they can, but not a good start to the night for either Sean Galligan or Dallas McIntosh here at Texas. The lights are out atop the pace car, and we're ready to go back green flag racing here at Texas. Dylan Poteet out in front, Levi McIntyre second. Third place, Kian Eddington. Fourth place, Blaine Keys. Fifth place will be Cooper Cyron. Sixth is Tim Walsh. Seventh is Emmanuel Hartnett. Eighth place, John Arndt. Ninth place, Carson Scott. Completing the top 10, James Richardson. And then 11th place is Leon Alvarez. Those 11 have not yet come to pit road. Restarting 12th will be Ryan Acosta. He was the first to pit and the first off pit road. Daniel Bouchard lines up 13th. 14th, Jeremy Jones. Holden Gluba in 15th. 16th is Rocco Twyman. 17th, Noah Kars. 18th place, Tristan Folks. 19th is Charles Sanford. Completing your top 20 is Benjamin Miles. JT Bryant, points leader, lines up in 21st place. Nobody out of the race. Sean Galligan and Dallas McIntosh's teams were both able to make repairs to the race cars, return them back to the racetrack. So all 42 cars are still running and are still on the lead lap. Big question is, though, if this thing goes into a long green flag run, where's this going to situate the top 11 as opposed to 12th on back between the drivers that did not pit and the drivers that did pit? We'll find out. Green flag back out here at Texas. Dylan Poteet gets us back underway. And Tim Walsh apparently was caught napping, and they almost are going 4 wide back here. They're going to go 3 wide. Carson Scott puts his teammate John Arndt in the middle. Emmanuel Hartnett right up to the outside line. And Tim Walsh getting awfully close to the left rear of the 19 of Cooper Cyron. Battle for second. Third place in the standings, Kian Eddington going to the inside of Levi McIntyre. Eddington and Pichu London have kind of been the dark horses of the season so far. They're running really well in points, but they haven't yet found victory lane. Eddington third in points, Pichu London sixth in points. And here you can see Kian Eddington again running consistently well and trying to reel in Dylan Poteet. Both these drivers looking for their first wins of the season. The highest running former winner this season, Tim Walsh, right now is in the 6th position. Actually, you make that 7th as Cooper Cyron got around him, and I think Holden Gluba is now trying to do the same. Gluba running up here with new teammates, the 19. Oh, trouble! Levi McIntyre in the wall! Gluba saves it, but McIntyre spun in front of the field, and more drivers involved. One car in the air, that's Leon Alvarez, he's flipping over. Another car flipping, that's Austin LaPlante, barrel rolling to the apron. Anthony McCurry involved, Ryan Madden, Dylan Young, Kyle Matthews, Baskiger, McIntosh, Bouchard, Chris Dowd, Noah Cars. It is utter carnage in turn 4. And the yellow flag is out for the second time here tonight at Texas. Oh man, and that was right up at the front of the field. Second caution, there you see the smoke of what just happened from the exit of turn 2 down the back straightaway and into turn 3. And another quick caution, and this will probably be the opportunity for the 11 drivers that did not pit last time to come down pit road this time. It's like Dylan Poteet's indicating he is going to come to pit road. Yes, he is. Is anyone staying out? No. Everybody is going to take the opportunity to pit on this one. There's Ryan Madden's Exalta machine. Dylan Young. Austin LaPlante, the 27 of our Bristol winner, Joshua Circuli, is on pit road. There's Levi McIntyre on pit road. Ryan Acosta just finishing up service. I don't know if he came down a closed pit road or not. John Arntt's got damage on the right side. I saw that as he pulled into his pit stall. Trent Dunham is damaged. Sean Galligan had damage. John Cittadino had damage. A lot of drivers did not get away from this wreck. And Dylan Poteet, very fast pit stop. He's down and away. He'll lead him off pit road. Drag race between Blaine Keys and Kean Eddington. I think Keys got him. Eddington comes out third. Carson Scott fourth. And Jeremy Jones will come out in the 5th position. So we're under caution for the second time tonight. This one a much bigger wreck than what we had for our first yellow. Dylan Poteet leads. Let's take a look at a replay of what happened. Well, this was almost a mirror image of what we saw happen earlier with Sean Galligan and Dallas McIntosh. Right here, it seems like the car on the high side loses a tremendous amount of grip. And I'm not so certain that car wasn't drifting through turn 2. Goes up, clips the wall, down into the door of Holden Gluba. How Gluba hung onto it, I don't know. Gluba pancaked the right side up into the wall, but then brings it down across traffic and saves it. Now we're going to see here who it is that actually makes the contact with the 99, and it's Alvarez right here. Just comes in full speed, never slows down. Circuli did get involved right there. There's Noah Cars. Wow, the 9 of Alvarez actually went up in the air and over top of the hood of teammate Chris Dowd. There's Michael Norman caught up on the high side. Baskiger. There's LaPlante getting flipped over. I think he got the hit from Anthony McCurry, and Ryan Madden never slowed down. Drills Dylan Young. Kyle Matthews, you can see back there in the 09, he got spun. Galligan's going to get around the high side. More damage on the 16 of McIntosh. We had 3 cars up and over at that point. The 9, the 51, and I believe the 2 car actually got up in the air for a moment as well. And look at the carnage there. And look at the carnage as far as drivers in the point standings, too. Involved in that wreck, the 27 of Circuli, 4th in points. The 95 of Baskiger, 5th in points. And this could have a huge impact in the point stands. And wait a minute, one car through the grass there. That's Mason Powers, the 3rd driver out of CJ Racing. What happened to him? I don't think he got involved in that, but he has some front-end damage. I'm not sure where that front-end damage came from. He missed the wreck, it looks like. Huh. Not sure. A lot of drivers taking evasive action, getting to the inside line. I also ended up seeing the 78 of Ryan Acosta. There you see him. He came to pit road, and I didn't see him get involved in the wreck. Let's look and see. No, he was not involved in the wreck either. So, was there an incident earlier? Let's just rewind just here, just for a minute. We've got the time. And I'm not seeing any damage there. So I'm not certain what was up with Ryan Acosta coming to pit road. But a big wreck's going to take out a number of drivers. 4th and 5th in points could be in very much jeopardy, and this could also put Ryan Acosta in jeopardy, because I believe he's actually going to be on the tail end of the lead lap between the pace car and the leader. So we're under the yellow. Let's go back to green here at Texas, see if maybe we can settle into a long green flag run. The lights are out atop the pace car. Levi McIntyre will line up at the inside line. He is a lap down. Ryan Acosta is on the tail end of the lead lap. As Dylan Poteet's the leader, Blaine Keys, Kean Eddington, Carson Scott, Jeremy Jones, that's your top 5. Then it's going to be Rocco Twyman, Tim Walsh, Jessica Shelton, James Richardson, and John Hart, the top 10 as we're back green. And the field is bunched up. And Kean Eddington is going to take advantage of that, and he goes to the lead. And he's gone. The field is still caught up behind the slower lap machine of Levi McIntyre. Now they're all going to try and find a way through, but man, Dylan Poteet, Blaine Keys really paid the piper for that one. Everybody moving on by as carefully as they can. And I think we may be under caution. Oh, we are now. Keys spins on the front straightaway. Collects Acosta. And Levi McIntyre. Oh, and Holden Gluba just ran into the back of Dylan Poteet. Sean Galligan's got a lot of damage. He might have been the reason for the yellow actually originally coming out. Look at the damage on the Geico Chevrolet. Kyle Matthews all crunched up. And Gluba ran into the back of Poteet. That's where he got that damage from. Charles Sanford's got some damage now. Daniel Voiles back here. In the 26 Mercedes-Benz, Anthony McCrory. And Cooper Cyron is now on the pit lane and is out of the race. So another caution flag. And unfortunately, we were not able to have a silent lap 15, so we're actually going to have to make it a silent lap 25 in memory of Barney Hall. Hopefully, it will be under green. Kean Eddington leads. Leaders do not come to pit road. Carson Scott is second. Third place, Rocco Twyman, Tim Walsh, Jeremy Jones. That's your top 5. Let's take a look at a replay of what happened. Both, I guess, in turn 2, and then on the front straightaway. And this one's going to start with Mason Wood and Daniel Voiles in a battle for the 21st position. And again, just like we've seen so many times off 2, Voiles gets the wall, bounces him down to the car inside, which at this point happens to be Mason Wood, and then turns straight down in front of Sean Galligan, Kyle Matthews. And Cooper Cyron does not get involved at this point in the 19. Oh, and then there's Voiles getting clipped again right down in front of Daniel Bouchard in the 4. That was quite a hit. Cittadino trying to get down to the inside. McCrory trying to do the same. And as we move further up, oh, there's another wreck. Sanford, Cyron, and Miles. After Miles makes some contact right here with Sean Galligan. Galligan was on the apron. Car drifted up into the Napa Chevrolet. Clips the 19 of Cyron and brings the 03 of Sanford up with him. Benjamin Miles had just made his way into the top 35 in points after a good run at Bristol last week, a runner-up finish, and that's a hard hit for him. And there you can see the engine has exploded on the Napa Chevrolet, so he'll be out of the race. And then we move further up and find the 99 of Levi McIntyre. There he is. Blaine Keys had been caught up behind Levi McIntyre for a good portion of this lap. Guess finally had enough of it. Tries to get to the inside line and looks like he's probably going to hook Levi McIntyre in the left rear quarter panel. Just as Michael Norman is trying to get to the inside, here comes the contact right there. Michael Norman actually drifted up a little bit, though, too. And the 99 of McIntyre goes around. The 48 of Blaine Keys goes around. And nowhere for the high line to go. Ryan Acosta gets nailed right there. And then watch the blue car on the top of your screen. Holden Gluba. Can't see through the smoke. Comes in full speed. And right there is going to hit Dylan Poteet from behind. There's the shot. And Poteet gets up into the wall. And I think everybody else got through there without hitting the 48 or the 78. Most of the drivers that come into this view are drivers that got involved in the incidents over on the back straightaway and in turn 3 anyway. So about 3 different wrecks on the same lap put us under the caution again, and we're going to have a lot more drivers back in the garage area than we originally had when we started this race. There's no doubt about that. Let's find out who they are, though, as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. Green Flag will come back out on lap 20 of 34. So we should have ourselves a total of 15 to go. Kean Eddington's the leader, Carson Scott second, Rocco Twyman third, Tim Walsh fourth, Jeremy Jones will be fifth. That's Jessica Shelton, Tristan Folks, Stephen Pollard the third. Along with James Richardson and John Art, that's your top 10. 1 lap down the inside line, that is Ryan Acosta. He continues on, but we only have 26 drivers on the racetrack, 25 of them on the lead lap. Drivers out of the race include Sean Galligan, Kyle Matthews, Anthony McCurry, Daniel Bouchard, Cooper Cyron, Levi McIntyre, Benjamin Miles, Jake Baskiger, Noah Kars, Dallas McIntosh, Leon Alvarez, Joshua Circuli, Chris Dowd, Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante, and Ryan Madden. Well, was looking like it was going to be a race of strategy. Now it turns into very similar to what our race 2 weeks ago at Atlanta was. Yet another D-shaped mile-and-a-half racetrack, too. A survival race. Kean Eddington gets ready to get us back underway. Green Flag back out here at Texas. Eddington gets away from the 78. Everybody else trying to do the same. Let's jump back there to the 78 of Acosta. Make sure that everybody's able to get around on the outside line. And JT Bryant, the points leader, is going to get held up. That's not good for JT, and now he'll forge to the inside, along with Blaine Keys, Emmanuel Hartnett, and a number of others to try and get around for position. Back up to the front, though. Let's see if Carson Scott's be able to reel in Kean Eddington. Not only has he reeled him in, but he's going to have a 3-wide situation. Here comes Tim Walsh to the bottom. 3 wide for the lead. Jeremy Jones right in the mix. Tristan Folks as well. If these drivers could please just stay green. Top 3, breakaway. Walsh, Carson Scott, Jeremy Jones. Remember the last time we were at a D-shaped mile-and-a-half racetrack? It was Atlanta. Who won? The 15 of Tim Walsh. He's trying to go for back-to-back wins at mile-and-a-half racetracks and pick up his 2nd win of the season. Carson Scott, best finish of the season, was 3rd place. That was at the season opener at Daytona. And Jeremy Jones, I think he's just trying to get a good finish to get away from 35th in points. James Richardson, man, that car has been on a hot streak lately, has the 6 of Richardson. Running now in the 3rd position as he'll take the spot from Carson Scott. And how about SP3, Stephen Pollard the 3rd, trying to get himself into the top 35 in points. This is only his 2nd start of the season. And a great run right now, up in the top 5, trying to have a chance to win this thing. But they got to try and reel in Tim Walsh, who has been able to open up about 0.6 of a second between himself and the 2nd place driver, which right now is James Richardson in the 6. Still green, which means maybe, just maybe, we'll go clean and green to the end. It'll be 10 to go next time by. Tim Walsh opened up his lead by about another 10th that lap, but now James Richardson doesn't have anybody behind him to have to concentrate on. Now he can concentrate on trying to reel in Tim Walsh. Coming to the beginning of lap 25, we will go silent on the mic in memory of commentator for MRN Radio, Barney Hall. Tim Walsh leads the way in the AAA Texas 500 here at Texas Motor Speedway, but his lead is being chiseled away. James Richardson is reeling him in. Stephen Pollard III trying to do the same, and they were 3 wide back here with Joshua Lee, Rocco Twyman and Carson Scott for a brief moment, as they're battling tooth and nail for that 5th, 6th, 7th spot. And you got Tristan Folks battling with Jeremy Jones. And how about Mason Powers? We know that both his teammates, Chris Dowd and Leon Alvarez, are out of the race after that big wreck that took place in 3. Mason Powers damaged goods, but still running in the top 10 there in that 44. And there is Pichu London in the 11. Or I should say in the 11th position in the 21 car. Solid run again for him. Dylan Pote got held up there. Led a good portion of this race early on, but he's running in 13th place, or make that 12th place now, as John Art's back to 13th. Manuel Hartnett now 14th, and Kian Eddington dropped all the way back to 15th place. Looks like he got the wall at some point. Move back up to the front. See if Tim Walsh has any challenge yet. Not yet. James Richardson still keeping in touch, though. 4/10 back last time by. Stephen Pollard III's over a full second back. He may not be a factor in this win. It may come down between the 15 and the 6. That time, the lead remained about status quo. Tim Walsh trying to pick up his second win of the season. And there are slower cars ahead they will have to encounter. Holden Gluba in the 55, Ryan Acosta in the 78, and they are going to catch them. Typical mile-and-a-half racetrack. The slower cars are going to get reeled in, and Holden Gluba doesn't want to be a part of it. Holden Gluba headed for pit road. But Ryan Acosta is going to be a trouble spot for Tim Walsh. He gets to the inside, but Richardson closed up the gap. And now Richardson side by side with Ryan Acosta. I don't know either if these drivers can make it the rest of the way on fuel. I would think they would be able to with the amount of laps that we ran. No! They're pitting! Are you kidding me? They're coming to pit road, and Joshua Lee has taken the lead in the 5 car with 3 to go. No, sorry, 4 to go. So now can Joshua Lee make it? Carson Scott moves to 2nd. Jeremy Jones to 3rd. Folks in 4th. 5th place now Rocco Twyman. Oh, look out. They got to get around Ryan Acosta. And now is Jeremy Lee coming to pit, or Joshua Lee coming to pit road. He's coming to pit road. Who's going to risk it? Folks stays out. Do you gamble it? Do you try going for it? Tristan Folks trying to pick up his first win of the season. Will he stay out an extra 2 laps? Or will he have to come to pit road? The only other driver that's risking it at this point is the 33 of Kian Eddington. He's 2nd place right now. Is Folks going to stay out? No, he's coming to pit road. What about Eddington? He's not slowing down. He's going to try another lap. Can Kian Eddington pull off the fuel strategy? 2 to go. 2 more times around. Can he do it? Or will he run out of fuel in the attempt? He comes into this race 3rd in the point standings, but he wants to get a victory. And it looked like he was just decreasing his speed. He may be coming to pit road this time. He is coming to pit road this time. So now's the big question. Oh, Carson Scott's pitting again, as is Lee, as is Jones. Why are they pitting again? Who does the lead cycle over to? Does it cycle back to Tim Walsh? No! Richardson's ahead of him, but Pollard's ahead of him. The 11's ahead of him. I think it's going to be the 11, or maybe the 17. It's going to come down between the 17, 11, 6, 32, and 15, I think. And the white flag is being displayed this time, and Tristan Folks has to pit again. The lead will go to Rocco Twyman in the 11. White flag displayed, and here comes SP3. Stephen Pollard III looking to the inside on Rocco Twyman. Trying to make the move, and he's there. Here comes Stephen Pollard III for the lead. Tim Walsh moving to 2nd. Stephen Pollard III I believe would be the one to win this race. Coming out of turn 4 for the final time. If my calculations are incorrect, we'll soon find out. But I'm pretty sure Stephen Pollard III is going to come to the line and win the AAA Texas 500. And indeed, that is the case. Talk about making sure you can get yourself into the top 35 in points. Stephen Pollard III pulls off the victory here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway in only his second start of the season. His debut was last week at Bristol. Qualifies his way in knockout Q here tonight for this event and takes home the checkered flag. What a job there by that 32 team. Man. In an unbelievable last couple of laps of chaotic pit strategy, Tim Walsh is going to come away with second place, and he may, well, no, he won't take the points lead, but he'll close it up very closely, though, with a second place run. Rocco Twyman's going to get third. He just barely lost it on that final corner. James Richardson, another solid run for him. He'll remain in the top 10 in points. How about Pichu London? Another solid outing for him in 5th. Mason Powers, great representation today in 6th place. John Arndt, 7th, 8th place for Blaine Keys. Kean Eddington, he didn't win the race. He tried to stretch it, came up 1 lap short, but he'll finish in the 9th spot. He'll stay in the top 10 in points. And completing your top 10 is Tristan Folks. Holden Gluba, first race for Joe Gibbs Racing, going to get 11th place. Joshua Lee, 12th. 13th for Jeremy Jones. Dylan Poteet led a good portion of this race. He'll finish 14th place. And completing the top 15 was Carson Scott. Let's see where the rest of our top 10 in points end up finishing this race out in. JT Bryant finishes the race in 21st. Jessica Shelton finished in 22nd. JT came in the points leader. Jessica Shelton came in 7th. Ryan Acosta finishes the race in 26th, came in 8th in points. And then the rest of the drivers that came in top 10 in points are far down here in the finishing results. Jake Baskinger came in 5th in points. He finishes 34th. Joshua Circulate came in 4th in points after his win last week at Bristol. He'll finish 38th here tonight. But my goodness, Stephen Pollard III, we'll have to see if this victory puts him into the top 35 in points. What he's got to try and do now with this victory is get himself to the top 30 in points, so that way he'll be eligible for a wild card spot. But who knows, if he can get himself into the top 35 in points with this win, he may be able to be locked into the next grid for next week, get another solid run, and we could maybe see him in a couple weeks up inside the top 10 in points. But a great run for a go-or-go homer at the beginning of the evening. Stephen Pollard III takes the checkered flag here tonight. Thank you all so much for watching tonight's race from Texas. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to become part of the crew today. Here's your full finished results from this evening's event. We'll now show you your point standings heading into next week. As you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, Offline Racing at its best.
Too soon to act on it, can we ever be? That all depends on what you feel.